Protect your privacy online with the best VPN for gaming, ExpressVPN, and visit expressvpn.com/GhillieMaster, linked in the description, to find out how you can get 3 months free. In 2017's gun running update, Rockstar released one of the most controversial vehicles to the world of GTA Online, the Oppressor. Little did we know we were in for a much bigger threat just a year later with the release of the Oppressor Mk, and to this day it remains one of the worst blunders of GTA Online's history. After its release, it quickly became the most talked about and complained about vehicle, and even now, 3 years later, the issue of the Mark II Oppressor still has yet to be addressed directly by Rockstar. There have been small nerfs to the ability to spam the vehicle, but the problem is still very much there. So today we're taking matters into our own hands and modifying some aspects of the vehicle in an attempt to make it much more balanced in the online environment. So where did the Oppressor Mark II go wrong? Well, it's kind of a loaded question, but to summarize it into a few points, it's just good at nearly everything. It's fast, it's agile, and it's small, so trying to shoot someone off of it on foot, especially in free lobbies, can be very annoying. And because it's so small, other aircraft have issues taking it out with their missiles because their missiles just can't track such a small vehicle like the Oppressor Mark II. This wouldn't be a problem alone, but combine that with the fact that the Oppressor Mark II can be equipped with some of the best homing missiles in the entire game, and now you have a vehicle that has nearly the best offense, alongside some of the best defense with its agility and small size, not to mention the fact that it also has countermeasures. It single-handedly ruined any chance that helicopters had left. If your helicopter gets locked onto by a Mark II, you're flat out screwed, there's nothing you can do. It's loaded with pretty much every positive you could ever ask for in a vehicle, with virtually no drawbacks in terms of its combat potential. From a design standpoint, it's overpowered. In order to tackle this issue, first and foremost, we are going to address the heavy imbalance of the Mark II's weapons. The missiles currently are way too far up in the power level, and the other weapons like the explosive MG and the machine guns are far too weak in comparison. So we're going to bring the missiles down a few levels and bring the other weapons up a few levels in power to give some variety and excitement to Oppressor Mark II combat, instead of the current brainless gameplay that is spamming the left bumper when you hear a lock-on. Another objective of this rebalance is to not completely ruin the Oppressor Mark II, but change it enough to get rid of some of the annoyances that people face, mainly with the missiles. I know a lot of people like using this vehicle to money grind. I'm in that same boat as well, and as someone who does use it for money grinding purposes, you have to admit that it's still unhealthy for the game as a whole for one vehicle to be just so much better than everything else, even if it does make grinding really easy. So with that being said, we're going to give the Oppressor Mark II a new feature that should serve to spice up the gameplay for both PvP and money grinding. So let's start out with the missiles, since that is what most people complain about with this vehicle. We nerfed the missiles pretty hard, I have to say. First of all, I changed the launch speed value to half of what it used to be, so the missiles are going to be much slower than they are right now. And a quick disclaimer, I know a lot of people say to just nerf the tracking on the missiles or give it buzzard missiles, and unfortunately I don't believe I'm able to do that kind of modifying through the game files. Missile tracking is something that is probably hard-coded, so I can't change it myself. But with that being said, we were still able to give the missiles a pretty significant nerf. Instead of doing normal homing rocket damage that they do now, I gave the Oppressor Mark II missiles the RC tank missile damage. But I did give it a little bit of a buff to the blast radius. It was at 1, I changed it to 3.5, which is still much smaller than the homing rockets of any other plane. And these changes alone make the rockets much less OP. It's going to take you 2 missiles to blow up any regular unarmored civilian car. Aircraft is much more resilient against them. Instead of taking 2 rockets to destroy a Savage, it's now going to take you 4. And a fully armored up Hunter will take 8 of these to destroy. Tanks also become immune to Oppressor rockets. Even the Rhino here takes tons of rockets to destroy, far more than the ammo capacity will ever be in online. And this is a major problem before, because all you need to do is call out a Mark II and spam 4 rockets at the Rhino to blow it up. And the Rhino just has no chance to shoot such a small vehicle like the Oppressor out of the sky before getting blown up. So tanks would become somewhat useful again with this change, since the blast radius and damage is much lower. And for that same reason, hitting people on foot with free missiles is going to be near impossible now, which was a super unfun thing to go against, so it's a good thing that that's gone. Next, let's discuss the regular old machine guns on the Oppressor Mark II. They were given a pretty substantial buff. I buffed the damage to 30 instead of 15. I reduced the speed from 10,000 to 2,000 just to normalize it with the other guns in the game. The time between shots I changed from 0.120 or 500 RPM to 3,000 RPM. And then we gave it a non-existent alternate wait time so that the guns both shoot at the exact same time. We also modified the tracers of the machine guns. It used to be just the regular MG tracer. We changed it to the jet tracers, and this doesn't do anything performance-wise to the machine guns. I just personally think they look a lot better with this tracer effect instead. And now let's take a look at the machine guns before and after these changes. The new MGs are much more powerful than the garbage machine guns that are on the Oppressor Mk II right now. You could also see the new tracers being used, and I feel like it's just much easier to aim with those tracers. These changes really make it feel like a viable weapon option now, especially with the nerfed missiles. Moving on to the explosive MG, this one just needed a little bit of a buff, nothing too crazy here. We buffed the rate of fire from 120 to 300 RPM, and matched the alternate wait time with the fire rate to let the guns alternate sides when firing. And then we gave the blast radius just a slight buff from 1.5 to 3, just so you don't have to be exactly on the target, but still pretty close in order to get a hit. Just like with the regular machine guns, with this slight upgrade, it really does make it a whole lot more useful. Using the explosive MG before was kind of awkward just because of the slow fire rate it had. It made it kind of hard to aim your shots. The fire rate increase makes it a bit easier, and with all three of the weapon changes, it does make the decision of which weapon to go for much harder because the missiles just aren't as good as they once were. Now, I also wanted to give the Mark II something cool to just make the vehicle more fun and to kind of draw people more towards the utility of the vehicle instead of the overpowered weapons on it. And so I gave it the ability to use DriveBy Weapons while piloting it. And I think particularly if you like using this vehicle in PvE, this would be very useful to have the ability to just, not blow everything up every time you find an enemy. Like when there are enemies near precious cargo, this could be useful, or when you're trying to get an import-export car. And if you have very good aim in PvP, this could also be very fun and a really rewarding way to play instead of just spamming missiles. It would definitely reward the people that have the utmost accuracy with their weapons. However, in the gameplay, you may see me pull out a compact grenade launcher or a sticky bomb, and I tried to find a way to limit it to only bullet weapons, but I don't think there's any current bikes in the game that don't let you use a grenade launcher, so I had to basically take the drive-by info from the dirt bike and put it on the Oppressor Mk II. But ideally, just bullet weapons would be allowed here because throwing stickies and shooting grenades, that would be a bit ridiculous. But I do find the idea of using drive-by weapons on the Oppressor Mk II pretty fun. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this Mark II rebalance in the comments section. I'll also leave a link to the Rockstar feedback page in the comments as well if you'd like to send this video to them in hopes to actually get it nerfed in-game. It probably won't happen, but who knows. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more guide and PvP related content. Make sure to let me know which vehicle I should rebalance next. I want to give a huge shout out to all my channel members for support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.